Let's go ahead and start off with the NFC West. We usually start off with the AFC. I feel like 9 times out of 10, every single time we do a predictions thing or we talk about anything division by division, we always start on the other side of things. Try to make sure that we spend as least time with our teams as possible, but we're going to go and switch it up and start off with the NFC West. And let's start with the LA Rams, where I'll go ahead and go first. I have a medium take here, doubling down on a player that you and I both love a lot. I think that Mr. Jared Verse is going to lead the league in forced fumbles this year with 5+. TJ Watt had 6 this past season, and I think he's going to have 5 or more. He had 2 last year. We know what he can do. We're big fans of his. We followed him throughout the draft process last year and all last year as well with our rookie rankings, our rookies of the week. I think he could very much impact the game beyond just the sacks, but the forced fumbles as well.
You know what, man? This is one of my spiciest takes.
Okay.
And I think in the prediction show and a couple other times, ranking show, I've talked about the downfall of the Rams. So I kept with that. The 49ers used to have a tight end. His name was Vernon Davis, and Vernon Davis had a brother. Do you know what that brother was famous for?
I mean,
he retired
mid-game,
halftime in the middle of the game. So my spicy prediction for this upcoming football season is that Matthew Stafford announces his NFL retirement before the end of this NFL season.
Wow.
Now, maybe that's in the playoffs after they miss the playoffs, but I do believe that this is Matt Stafford's last year as an NFL quarterback, and he will be announcing that retirement during the current NFL season.
Wow. Okay, so I'm with you on definitely thinking that this is Matthew Stafford's last year, but there's consensus is the Rams are going to be very good this year. Not only very good, a lot of people have them winning the division, but you think obviously doubling down on our schedule predictions, missing the playoffs and retiring potentially midseason or just as soon as they're out of the playoff running, he's out of there.
Yeah, shocker. The 49er fan doesn't believe in the Rams this year.
That's okay. I'm doubling down on some of the Eagles stuff just to be an asshole. Not the Jalen Hurts thing. Okay, so we could put that to bed for the meantime and watch how the season goes with that. Damn, okay, yeah. That's a crazy way to start it. We can, move right.
You picked a good team to start with. That's why I was laughing so hard. Hey, I'm gonna get my highlighter out here, and I'm gonna make sure to keep these pieces of paper. And when we go back and review this, I'm just gonna circle this one right here as one of my spicies. So
let's go ahead and move into the Seattle Seahawks, a team that is a little bit polarizing on how well or disappointing they can be this season. Obviously, the number one thing is going to be their quarterback, but I'm not going to be talking about their quarterback today. This is one of my hot takes, and that is doubling down on my Jackson Smith-Njigba stuff where I said he was going to be a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL this upcoming season. I put him right there at number 10, and I think he's going to lead the league in receptions with over 120. And on top of that, I still think he's going to break 1,300 yards. He had 1,100 yards last year. He had around 100 receptions as well. He has that potential to break into the 120 and the 1,300 yards. I don't think it's that outrageous, but leading the league in receptions overall is the part that's a little bit spicier, especially bringing in a guy like Cooper Kupp. A lot of people are going to point to that in our comment section. Well, Cooper Kupp and the target share percentage and his target share percentage, JSN, was 23.1%. It can jump up to 30%. We haven't seen a good year out of Cooper Kupp in how long now? We're putting a lot of stake into a guy that, yes, won the Triple Crown, had one of the best Triple Crown seasons of all time, but hasn't done much since, a lot of it due to injuries. Can he stay healthy? We know what JSN can do as of just recently last year, what he's supposed to be doing coming out of college, and he is doing that thing. I think he's going to be the number one wide receiver by far. I think he's going to eat up a lot of those short yardage situations. And with Lockett gone, with DK gone, I think he's going to do a lot more in the long range game as well.
Feisty. I'm disappointed to learn that you're so high on the Seahawks offense this year. I'm hoping they only win 2 or 3 games to make my team's life easier. But my prediction for the Seahawks this year is a little bit in line with your thought of their explosive offense. And my expectation for the Seattle Seahawks is my guy, Kenneth Walker III, is going to lead the NFL in red zone touchdowns this year.
You don't think Zach Charbonnet can sneak a lot of those out from him? It's a power back.
I don't believe in vultures, okay? I'm not a vulture guy. I don't believe in drafting Kenneth Walker the third in fantasy because you know what he could do, and then he doesn't get any carries within the 5,
Yeah.
okay? I don't believe in that. I think that's BS. So I'm expecting these to be 7-yard carries, 9-yard carries, 8-yard carries, getting into the end zone, doing a little dance, and Kenneth Walker leads the league in red zone touchdowns.
Yeah, he just posted on his TikTok what touchdown dances should he be doing this year. And you know what the comment section said? I just want to see you healthy. I don't care about the touchdown. We'll see how that one goes. I hope so, man. He's a talented receiver or running back. And honestly, how many running backs has Seattle gone through that have just been unhealthy, talented but unhealthy? Thomas Rawls comes to mind in recent memory, and K9 is right there on talented but hasn't been able to put it together because of the health concerns.
It's an interesting year for the division on a whole. Everybody's picking the Rams, but if you told me that the Seahawks did it this year and Kyler Murray bounced back to the form we know that he can do 2020 form, and the Rams and the Niners both missed the playoffs, like when you look at the talent across the division, if you look at the rosters, it wouldn't be that surprising if this is one of those divisions this year that's like everybody goes 3-3. So we'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah, everyone's going to be competing for a playoff spot, especially with the opponents that you guys go up against, the divisions that you're playing. I think everyone's going to be competing in one way or another for some sort of playoff spot. Those graphics are going to go up for who's in the hunt, and I think you're going to see a lot of NFC West this season.
What you got for the Cards?
I have a medium. I feel like there's a lot of people expect this, but wouldn't be surprised if it didn't completely go through. I would be surprised if this didn't go through. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, is going to earn his first Pro Bowl selection. One, the Pro Bowl selection it's a name-based thing, right? It's a popularity contest. He has that popularity because of the name, being drafted highly. But not only that, I think he's going to have a great season. I think he's going to have over 1,100 yards, 1,150, 1,200 is, I think the ballpark is where he's going to be at. But I think he's going to have 10-plus touchdowns. Outside of Trey McBride, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the target out there. Obviously, they have a great pair of running backs in the backfield, but there's a lot of issues with the offensive line and questions on how Kyler Murray is potentially going to play and how healthy he's going to be. But I don't think there's a lot of question in my mind how talented Marvin Harrison Jr. is and can be in the flashes that he did have. I think he's going to put it all together and earn his first Pro Bowl selection. Again, a lot of that basing it off of the name and the talent, but the name is there.
Hey, you know what? If Marvin Harrison is balling out, and that means Kyler Murray's balling out too, and my prediction for the Cardinals this year is Kyler Murray leads NFL quarterbacks in rushing yards this year. If you go back to some of his most successful seasons in 2020, he averaged 9 yards per carry. And I think if the Cardinals want to win some games, they got to get back to that type of production from him at the quarterback spot. So I expect him to be throwing bombs to Marvin Harrison Jr., and when he ain't open, he just gets up, scrambles around, and gains those first downs, moves the chains. So Kyler Murray leads the league in quarterback rushing yards.
And there's a lot of, obviously, the quarterbacks now in the play and how the rushing quarterback actually impacts the game nowadays. There's a lot of contestants for that. Obviously, Lamar is always going to be a contestant for that. Anthony Richardson, if he plays a full season, can potentially be a contestant for that. I think there's a lot of people who can contest. Kyler's a good pick, though. I like it.
You're welcome.
All right. I always like doing 49ers predictions because I'm always interested to see where your head is at with some of these that I make. And I'm like, I sit there and I make the prediction. I'm like, what does he think about some of the stuff that I'm about to say?
I feel like when you give analysis on the 49ers, you're so level-headed, you're fair, you're objective. And then when I talk about the Cowboys, it's like, I hate Cowboys. Like, I predict that an asteroid hits Dallas Stadium and the Cowboys are removed from the NFL forever. Like, that's the kind of crazy crap I come up with when it comes to the Cowboys. And you over here with the 49ers, like, I think that George Kittle is going to be a top 3 fantasy tight end this year. So anyways, let's hear it.
I think this is one of my hotter takes as well because I don't think people think he's going to lead his team in receiving yards. But I do think Ricky Pearsall has that potential. Yes, this is one of my hotter takes. One, we have a lot of uncertainty right now of Brandon Ayuk. coming back from injury, where he's going to actually be at explosiveness. We know what he can do. We know about the separation. We know how much talent he actually has. But coming back from injury, where is he going to stand in the team, in the locker room, and Shanahan's system? We know people can be put in the doghouse pretty easily with him. Jauan Jennings, I know he has this nagging hamstring injury throughout camp. That's a big concern. Any type of soft tissue injury. Any type of soft tissue injury, I'm going to be concerned about, especially if it's nagging. The Cowboys have a rookie corner right now that has a nagging hamstring injury, and he's playing through it through camp. And I'm not super confident in what's going to go on there. I have some Jauan Jennings concerns because of that. I think it leads Ricky Pearsall, especially with Debo being gone, Ricky Pearsall to come in and take a lot of those reps that some of these guys should be getting, but aren't getting. So I think Ricky's going to get a lot of, especially with a full camp and first team reps, I think he's going to be getting a lot of the targets. Week 17 and 18, it's very small sample size, 14 catches, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 21.7% target share, being the main guy for those 2 weeks. He's shown that he can do it in a small sample size. Can he potentially do it for an entire season is going to be the question here. And like I said, with the Ayuk question marks, the Jennings question marks, obviously Kittle's still there, and Kittle is Kittle. I don't have any questions there. McCaffrey, what's his role going to be in this situation? I think he's going to take any and all of those Debo snaps of the short yardage things. I think Christian McCaffrey takes all of them. So I'm a little concerned about the workload for him, but I think Pearsall takes the receiving yards this year for the Niners.
Interesting. A little note on Jauan Jennings. It's actually a calf injury.
Okay, yeah.
And that might give you shades of Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
I would be a little bit more concerned if he also wasn't looking for a new contract. So how legit this injury is versus how legit it's not. I'm not saying it's fake.
Yeah.
But maybe he's just faking a knee injury a la Seth Rollins over there so he can show up and shock the world. Who knows? As far as my 49ers prediction goes, I'm just going to read exactly what I wrote and see what you think about it. Survives attempted murder and makes the Pro Bowl. Ricky Pearsall is the 49ers' number 1 wide receiver.
And for clarification, we don't talk to each other 9 times out of 10 about what predictions we have. We throw flyers out there. I knew what his Jaguars and Cowboys one was. Outside of that, no talks about the 49ers takes.
Yeah, I gave you my Cowboys and my Jags, and you gave me the Jackson Smith-Njigba. So That's all we talked about here. Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall spent all summer down in Florida working out together, trying to work out that timing. Brock Purdy has been forcing the ball to Ricky Pearsall since he came back. Obviously, he started the year on the PUP list, but he's come back and he's in camp now. And realistically, Jauan Jennings isn't practicing. Brandon Ayuk obviously isn't practicing. Denard Robinson, who looks like he might be our number 2 going into the season, except for he might be facing a suspension, has looked okay. We've cut and re-signed Andy Isabella a couple times. We've cut and re-signed St. Brown a couple times and not Amon-Ra, the little brother. So, yeah, I mean, it's Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle, and basically bust at this point because I'm hoping they've reduced the workload on Christian McCaffrey this year. So there we go. We are only 4 takes in, and we got one that we agreed on. So that's pretty good so far.
I know. I thought it would take a lot longer than that, honestly.